Welcome to the Tony Gaskin Show, best-selling author, celebrity life coach, and international speaker. The purpose of this show is to bring you motivation, inspiration, and education in the areas of life, love, and business. Thank you for joining me. Now let's get started. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talks with Tony. Hey, been on a long break. I feel like it's been 2 or 3 weeks. I went on a long vacation, went out of the country with my family, put my phone down, didn't post on social media the whole time, didn't answer text messages, emails. I mean, it just was so needed, so refreshing. And I really just wanted to speak on that and kind of touch on it just to remind you to take out time for yourself. Even if you can't get away from work right now or you can't, go on a vacation, make sure you take out the time to create a schedule that you shut everything down, that you stop answering text messages, that you stop accepting phone calls. If that starts at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and rolls over to the next morning to 8 a.m., whatever it is, find a window of time that you just spend with you and or your loved ones and really just focus and center and pray and do what you have to do. I mean, I was just in this time, I was seeing visions and things I wanted to create, things I wanted to, bring to fruition. And I was able to kind of make a plan. I'm not really as much of like writing it down, but I just think on it so much, it becomes etched in my mind. I write it upon the tables of my heart, and I was able to come back and get started yesterday and just activate these things that I had dreamt up in this time away. And it was so important, and I started to realize just how addicted we are, to our phones. And man, I wish I had Mark Zuckerberg money. I would start a retreat center for just yearly detoxes or monthly detoxes just for people in their own city just to get away from the phone. I mean, being on vacation, we were at an all-inclusive, resort, 5-star. It was amazing. And in Cancun, Mexico. And you go out to the restaurants, and it's kind of cool at those resorts because they have restaurants that's just like a normal hibachi or steakhouse or Mexican restaurant or what have you, Italian restaurant. And you sit down, and it's like a restaurant that would cost you, $40, $50, $60, $70, per person to eat. And you're sitting there, you're doing 3 or 4 courses. And I was looking around at other tables, and I saw so many kids on their iPads or on their little games, and parents would, and sometimes we saw tables where the dad was on his device, the mom was on her device, and the kids were on their device. And it just, and you've been that family before. Like we've been that family where my son was on YouTube, and my other son on his Nintendo DS, and my wife looking at her Instagram, and I'm looking at emails. We've been that family before, but just to see it and to see how it looks, it's like, man, that looks bad. And then, going through customs where you can't have the phone in that little section when you're punching in your passport stuff and waiting to get your bag. And to see parents had their kids on their tablets. I mean, fortunately, they didn't get in trouble. But it was like, man, there's no break from these things. And last night, I was watching my son, my 4-year-old. He came up to me. I had my laptop on my lap because we're just getting back from vacation. So I'm going through a bunch of emails. I have, 1,000 emails literally that I had to go through. And I had my laptop on my lap, and I had my phone in my hand. And so I'm going through emails on my laptop. I'm going through text on my phone. And it was probably 7 p.m. I didn't get started working until like maybe 10 or 11 a.m. yesterday. And so I was working a little late, past 5. And my 4-year-old came up to me. He said, Daddy, can you be done with your pewter and your phone? And I was like, yeah, all right, son. So I got off of it and we started watching Netflix. We was watching Netflix, watching his little show called The Race of Life. He loves it on Netflix and dances in the intro and outro. And we watched, about an episode. Another one was starting and got into that episode. And I grabbed my phone for something. And I just kind of subconsciously flicked it open, went to Instagram, and was looking at little videos on the popular page. And, they're all inappropriate, on the popular page, like somebody's cursing or something in the comedy videos. And so I turned the volume down, went to turn the volume down, but he got a glance at my phone and he was like, Daddy, can I watch YouTube on your phone? And he just loves YouTube. I guess just the real life of it, watching little kids play with toys and stuff like that. So he's like, can I watch YouTube? And I was like, yeah. And so I said, all right, I'll let you watch YouTube. Just 15 minutes because we're getting ready for bed. It's summertime, so we're going to bed late. And after about 5 minutes, his mom was like, all right, boy, it's time for bed. And then I was like, all right, Tatum, give him a phone. He was like, can I have a timer? Because, we typically give him a timer like 5 minutes. And when the timer goes off, you got to stop what you're doing. If you're playing, whatever. Can I have a timer? I was like, nope. And he kind of started to whine and real tears came out of his eyes because that YouTube is so addicting. He was getting his high. And it was almost like I grabbed the crack pipe right before, the high really got kicking in. But of course, I'm dealing with a 4-year-old, so he's ready to cry. He's like, I ain't got my fix yet. I don't really get my good high, my dopamine and serotonin really get going after about 10, 15 minutes. You cutting it off at 4 or 5 minutes, and put him in bed. He got out of bed 2 times, coming out with a little, saying his stomach has a little stomach ache and need a sip of water, which that could have been just the activation from the chemicals being released from his brain from watching the phone and just stimulating him that much right before bed. And it's addicting. And sometimes he get that phone, especially when he's with my mother-in-law, he get her phone and, he runs her. So he'll be watching YouTube 2 hours, and for sometimes you think like, okay, it's good that he could pay attention to something that long. I've read before, have your babies watch movies to just help their attention span. But, on the phone, it could get dangerous if you're doing that too much. So my wife, she never lets him watch the phone. And so he'll get it with my mother-in-law, and that's probably once a week or once every 2 weeks. And so it just really got me to thinking. And it got me to thinking just about how addicted we are to our phones and to social media. And for me, I hate that it's a part of my business. That's how I built my brand, by posting online and, my posts going viral. And that's how people came to know about me. So I have to be there. I have to be present. I have to be active, or else my business, kind of stops. And of course, I've built a mailing list now, so that kind of helps to where you can drive some business, do some course sales or what have you. But to get speaking engagements as a speaker, you got to use social media, and you got to post, and you got to post at relevant times. So I can't say, I'm done posting at 5 p.m. because a very, very powerful and relevant time to post is 10 p.m. Eastern. And so I got to at least open my phone long enough to post that. And I can't trust anybody else with it because you just don't want somebody else's phone to get stolen or to get hacked or somebody to go rogue and start posting something crazy, on my account. So I don't let anybody have access to my accounts, and I run them, and I got to be active, and I got to post. And that's a part of how I feed my family. So that's tough for me. But if that's not the case for you, and you work a different type of job to where you don't really need social media, and your kids don't need social media for their brand or their job or their persona or whatever they have going on, start taking out time to where you just cut out, the phone. You cut out the phone or whatever you're addicted to, even if it's Netflix. Like, you cut it out and you focus on something else. You focus on you focus on your dream, you focus on your plan. If it's, exercising 30 minutes in the house, whatever it may be, spending time, playing a board game. We sit down and we've been playing Uno and playing Monopoly and just family time without technology. That is so important. So I just wanted to send that to you because I'm coming off this vacation and just feeling, refreshed and renewed, and just being able to think about the addictions that we have and how we are slowly killing ourselves without even realizing it, and how we are literally addicted to our phones like drugs. And it's so powerful, and it's such a programming tool that is being used, whether it's intentional or unintentional. It is being used against our productivity as a people and as a society, and it's affecting us in every way. Our children are becoming dumber, and we are becoming weaker, and it is hurting us. Our work production, our school production, our relationships is hurting us in every way. And you gotta just take inventory and be mindful of your consumption and what you are consuming, how often you are consuming it, and what you really need and what you don't need. Hey, from the heart, Tony Gaskins here. Just your brother from another mother. God bless you. Remember, I'm jumping back into the Talks with Tony, so if you have a question for me, send it in to inbox@TonyGaskins.com. Make sure you hop over to TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. We're going to be releasing some exciting new courses here coming up in all different, areas, all different topics, finance, everything. So hop over to TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, grab a course, change your life, and we will talk soon.